So ingredient number one was the Kent Golding pellet hops. These hops had spice, citrus, floral, honey, and earthy notes, just to kind of give us that preliminary flavor on those. And those ended up being more of our flavor hops. Next, we have the German Northern, but those were kind of like our front end hops. These were more of our like sustaining, maybe like the preservation hops. Then next we had our malt, using a mix of caramel and pale malt to lead to a richer, more red and amberish color, which we were aiming for in our American Amber. And then we went on straight to sanitizing and making sure all those items were accounted for. First, we brought that up to a temp of 160 degrees. We added in our grain bag, which we ended up splitting into 3. We used 2 pillowcases and 1 of the plastic grain bags. And then we began to mash inside of those. And kind of brought those up to their striking temperature. We let them hang out, and then we began to boil. Throughout this boiling process, we added the additional hops, which were going to be our first hops, those more citrus and floral ones that we got from the Kent Goldings, because these were going to be mainly our flavor hops. So we added those in about halfway through the boil process, just so we can make sure we got those flavors and aromas when they came through. This is how it looked after mashing. This is also, at this point, we did the iodine test, got good results, and we decided to move on. Then we moved on to the loadering process, so basically removing the grain bags from there. But what we were doing is we just kind of ran water through our grain bag in order to kind of get that additional and also wash off any of that extra starch and that goodness that was in the bag. Once the grain bag was removed, we used the whirlpool method, just kind of bringing it up and spinning it around to bring all that sediment to the bottom. And then from there, we put them into Nolan's sink, filled with ice and salt water to try to even bring it an extra step further. Unfortunately, we did not get any videos of our racking process, as it was very labor intensive, and like we were all really stressed out, so we didn't even think to record it. But I was holding the funnel, Nolan was pouring it over, and then just kind of working it from there, which eventually led to how this looked at our primary thing. So as you can notice, there is a ton of cloudiness in here. Ultimately, we didn't know what to expect at first, but we were at the point where we had to kind of wait and see. And what was noticeable about it is all of that sediment was already falling. We could see that immediately. So we were hoping it would clear up, and after 72 hours, it very much did. And we were starting to notice signs of fermentation in our yeast, which is totally great. And that's all I got.